Hey, it's your girl Dana Monet, and I'm here for another installment of The Voice Season 9 recap. And this is the top 9, and I'm going to discuss performance and results. So I'm just going to get right into it. Now, this is the week where we went from 9 down to 4. And I don't know if I told you guys last week or if I put it on a blog somewhere or something like that, but the main person that I wanted to make it into this top 4 was Jeffree. And if he didn't make it into this top 4, I might not be watching or doing these videos anymore. But he made the top 4. Granted, he needed the Twitter save to do it, but he's there. So, we're in the clear. Thankfully, next week I won't have to recap as many performances or as many contestants because there's only going to be 4 left. So I'm just going to kind of go in order of who performed on performance night. Now, I was under the impression that Dolly Parton was going to be mentoring them like individually on their songs on the night of the performance, but then she didn't come until results night and she performed. I thought she had kind of bailed completely, but at least she came and performed and she did talk to the kids. So, but it didn't appear that she helped them out with their individual songs. Possibly could have been beneficial. Who knows? The first contestant was Barrett, and he sang Ghost. And he tried to turn a pop song country, and for him it went awry. That doesn't always happen, but for him it did. I gave him a C-. There's nothing else more to discuss about Barrett. He's in the top 4. I don't know why, but he definitely took Maddie or Amy's spot. Absolutely. Actually, you know what he did? He took Jeffree's spot because Jeffree should have been voted in and Maddie or Amy should have gotten the Twitter save. That's what I'm thinking, but that's all I have to say about Barrett. He's in the top 4. I mean, whatever. Blake has 2 people in the top 4. I thought Adam was going to have 2 people in the top 4 with Jordan and Amy, but didn't happen. Moving right along to Shelby. I felt her performance was kind of boring, and I felt like she had some pitch problems. I wrote that she was a tad manic in delivery, and I don't know if it was manic or if it was just that she was nervous and she was just trying so hard to convey the emotion, like I'm here and, you know, see me and everything like that. But she tried to save it with some high notes, but it wasn't enough. And to me, it was a shame because I felt like the nerves got the better of her. I gave her a C, and I gave Barrett a C- if I didn't say that. I've said this many times. I feel that she was in direct competition with Emily Ann, but because Emily Ann always sings country and she's on Team Blake, and I guess she just has a certain appeal, you know what I mean? I knew she was going to make it over Shelby, even with a weaker voice. So it's a shame. Shelby's out. And Shelby was the only contestant not to make it into the top 10 on iTunes. Next was Jeffree, and he just completely rearranged Believe by Cher. And I knew he was going to slow it down, but I was a little bit wary of him performing this song because I was like, there's so many other songs, and I was just like, this is top 9 week, and we know it's going to get whittled down to 4. Like, I know that he sounds so much like Sam Smith. I know, I get it, and I know that he sang Sam Smith for his audition, but I would really like for him to sing some Sam Smith again. And this may be the wrong thing to say, you know, don't hate me, I'm not homophobic in any way, but Believe seems like the gay anthem or something, and obviously Jeffree has made no secret about the fact that he's gay, so of course he had to sing this song, but whatever. It was beautiful, and I really enjoyed it. I actually really understood the lyrics because it was so slowed down, and he slayed. So he got an A. Thank you. Next was Ellie Goulding. To me, Ellie Goulding can't sing. I don't know what the big hype is about her. Somebody on the blogs commented that I guess somebody in their room thought that Ellie Goulding was a contestant and didn't think that she would make it to next week. Like, and I didn't like what she was wearing either. I don't think that chick can sing. Sorry, Ellie Goulding fans. I apologize, but no bueno. Next was Braden. He sang Amazing Grace, had to bust out the quintessential gospel hymn, because The Voice is notorious for that. Idol does not praise, no pun intended, the whole holy thing on Idol, but The Voice, it's always something that garners votes. And I mean, I guess, but it kind of seems not genuine that people just do it for votes. Like, you can sing other songs for votes. There's other heart-wrenching songs that can get people to vote that are not gospel or spiritual related. There's nothing wrong with singing those types of songs if it really means something to you and is genuine to what you see yourself doing outside of the show. But if you're just doing it for votes, I don't like it. And I feel like Braden was just doing this for votes. So I'm thankfully saying this for the last time, because he has been successfully voted off, wasn't even eligible for the Twitter save, thank goodness, but he did hit the top 10 in iTunes, so I was kind of worried. He has a decent voice, but he's not ready. I've said it before. He still sounds completely young. Yes, I know that he's 15, but he doesn't have the maturity in his voice that I would prefer to hear in a contestant. So I need him to be gone, and he was. So he got a C. Zach was next, and he sang The Climb by Miley Cyrus. I wasn't really impressed. He still was having the pitch problems. And on some long notes he was holding, it was difficult for him to hold on to the pitch, in my opinion. He sounded a little bit flat. He sounded better than he had in other performances, but it wasn't good, and he got a C-. And he got the opportunity to sing for the Twitter save. Thank goodness he didn't get voted in. I was a little bit worried that all three of Blake's contestants was going to be in the final four. Thank goodness they were not. Next was Maddie, and she sang Big Girls Don't Cry. Not the Fergie version, some other version I've never heard of before. I thought it was an interesting song choice. A lot of people like this accordion thing. I don't really like the accordion thing. It was too novelty. It reminded me of Joey Cook from Idol, and these types of performances that Joey did were not my favorite. This is just my personal taste. I think Maddie is kind of a love it or you hate it. Like, I like her voice. I'm just not into that type of music, I guess. So it doesn't do anything for me. And I think online it was like either you loved her or you hated her. Some people like really, really enjoyed it, and some people, didn't really like it. But I can appreciate it for what it was. I didn't really think that was going to be enough to get her to the final, but I was quite surprised when I saw her like in the top 5 on iTunes. I was like, hold up, wait a minute, she might have a chance. I didn't like the talking parts. She likes to do that. I wanted to hear her sing more. I just feel like she should have chosen something, because she knew it was going to get whittled down from 9 to 4, something to really, really showcase her voice. And this was just like, and she mentioned this is just something that she does in her shows, and it just seemed like a part of the set, but not like the big song that was needed. Like some of her songs in the past, like Songbird or A Case of You or something like that. My personal taste, I gave her a C+. Others may not, but my personal taste, I gave her a C+. Blake sang, so I went to the bathroom. Moving on. Emily Ann, she sang 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton, and I was really actually hoping for Dolly Parton to actually mentor the contestants, because I wanted to see what she really thought of her singing her song. It seemed like they weren't necessarily being strategic, but it's a lot of notes, a lot of lyrics in a phrase. Like, I was like, ooh, it's kind of hard for her to get it all on tempo and in the pocket and stuff. A little hard to stay on the rhythm. She looked a little stiff sometimes, but she got into her groove. She did have a nice high note. I didn't like the song. Remember, I don't like country. It's not my favorite genre of music. and not, especially not this type of song. The only country I can probably stand are ballads, and like you have to be able to sing like Carrie Underwood, which this female cannot. And this is, again, I've said this before, why I could never be a judge on one of these shows, because I'm too biased. It's a problem. But I think that her voice sounded good. Song, I didn't really care for the song. I'm sorry, Dolly Parton. I do like Dolly Parton though. She hasn't aged. Still looks the same as she did like 3 decades ago. So yes. So Emily, I gave her a C+. She can maybe get a B-. I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea. Next was Amy, and she sang To Make You Feel My Love. Oh yeah, Emily Ann is in the top 4, of course. She wasn't somebody that I picked, but I knew she was going to be in there. But I thought that she would be the only one of Blake's kids in the top 4. So I was highly upset when Barrett got in there too. I thought it was only going to be Emily. But anyway, Amy sang To Make You Feel My Love. She kind of went back to the lullabies, and I liked it in a good way. It was soft and pretty. It made me want to go to sleep, but not in a bad way. I said, like, it's like a lullaby. I did hear a little power in her voice. It's not something that I hear from her very often. But I did feel like she was actually feeling the song. She had some moments of vulnerability, and where she kind of really, I felt like, got into the emotion of the song. I felt like it was one of her better vocal performances live, and she's one that sounds really good on the studio recordings. It doesn't always sound good live. A great example of that is when she sang Hotline Bling. Like, recently I went back and listened to the live version of Hotline Bling, and she was extremely pitchy, but the studio version is bomb. So she does really good in the studio, which is a good thing. Could sell some records for sure. And I for sure thought that she was going to be in the top 4. She didn't even get to sing for the save. Like, come on. Like, even though I wanted Jeffrey to get it, I wanted to hear her sing for it at least. Jeez. But I gave Amy a B+. And Jordan was last. He got the pimp spot, but of course, Somebody to Love. And this is his first time singing a song by a man, other than the battle rounds when he sang Like I Can, but he didn't pick that song by Sam Smith. So Adam said, put some Aguilera on it, and boy, did he put some Aguilera on that performance. You know, and he had the choir. I have to say that people are mad online that they're pimping the hell out of Jordan, and they give him the pimp spot, and they've been pimping him throughout this whole time, and they're trying to show this journey of this guy who's a misfit who makes it on The Voice and yada yada. He's kind of overweight and, you know, not that much of a looker, but he can sing, and he's just epitomizes what The Voice is. And I know we all hate this, and we just hate, you know, the producers drowning something in our throats, but I have to say, he rises to the occasion every time. And honestly, I feel like this performance of Somebody to Love was his best performance since the blind auditions. I mean, that Aguilera on it, if Aguilera was on this season and he was on Christina Aguilera's team, oh my goodness. Woo, child. That's all I gotta say about that, because he hit them runs dead on, and I loved it. I couldn't even be mad at him. You know what? He was pulling out all the stops. He is somebody who has been labeled a front runner, and I'm thinking about all of the singing competitions that I've seen, who has never ever settled. He never settled. He never got complacent. He's like, I know I'm a front runner, but I'm still gonna deliver. Even though he could have given like a C+ performance and still made the top 4, he's gonna strive to give A+ performances every single week. Speaking of A+, I gave him an A+ because I thought it was amazing. He did amazing. So I can't be mad at Jordan, even though they're pimping him. First of all, that's not his fault. They're pimping him because he's great, but he's rising to the occasion every time. So I can't be mad at his inevitable win. I just hope that Jeffrey is second. That's all I can hope for. So, just to clarify, the top 4 ended up being Barrett, Jeffree, Emily Ann, and Jordan, which, I mean, predictable. We all knew Jordan was going to be in there. So, my top 4 that I wanted to have was Jordan, Jeffree, Amy, and Maddie. And we know that that did not happen because that would entail that nobody from Team Blake would be in the top 4. And that never happens. It happened one time in season 5. But I think it's only because they had a 3-person finale. So one time. But just to say again, The Voice completely took over iTunes. Like I said before, 8 of the 9 contestants were in the top 10. Poor Shelby was the only one that wasn't in the top 10. So let me give you the iTunes rankings. Jordan, again, knocked Adele out of the #1 spot. So he was at #1 with Somebody to Love at the close of voting on Tuesday, December 8th at 12 noon. Jeffree came in at #3. Emily Ann came in at #4. Maddie came in at #5. Amy came in at #6, Braden came in at #7, Zach came in at #8, Barrett came in at #10, and Shelby was at #18. So she was getting there. She was almost there. But they were back to back. So it was really, really close. The only thing that I could think of is how Barrett ended up getting in because he was #10 on iTunes again. And the iTunes isn't really a good, distinguisher these days, because if everybody's getting into the top 10, then can't really use iTunes to determine. But he was getting more votes. I think that people need to remember that when you download the song, that you need to still vote. Even though it's a 10 times multiplier, go on the app, vote 10 times, go on Facebook and vote 10 times. I chose this week because I knew it was getting whittled down from 9 to 4 to only vote for 1 contestant. So I only voted for Jeffree. But I did really want Amy to be in there. I kind of wanted to throw some votes her way, but I wanted to make sure Jeffree was there. And again, he still needed the Twitter save. And I mean, out of all of the Twitter save performances that I've seen all season, his Make It Rain was the only one that sounded like he was actually singing for his life. Like, nobody in these Twitter saves were actually singing for their life. He was the first one out of all the weeks they've been doing this Twitter save. Like, Jeffree fights for it, and that's why I love him to death, him and his little red-headed self. And if it were up to me, he would win. But I know it's going to be Jordan, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I am, however, not okay if Emily Ann or Barrett wins. I'm not. So, Jordan, you knock them off of that. You do that. So, I was a little afraid that Braden would sneak up in there, but didn't happen. Didn't happen. So, yeah. I think that's about it. So next week is the finale. Woo! So it is the last week of The Voice, and I'm kind of excited about that, because not for the obvious reasons that it's finale, but I'm kind of ready for it to be over. This season was a bit of a drag. This season could have been a lot better, but there were a lot of great contestants that were eliminated early, so it was kind of a dull season, especially to be the first time that I'm recapping the season. So, but hopefully we'll end it on a high note, and Jordan, or maybe it'll be a big upset and Jeffree will win, but somebody with the name Jay needs to win. That's the only acceptable winner I'll accept. And I'm looking forward to continue doing these recaps for Idol come January. So be on the lookout for me for Idol come January recaps for the 15th and final season of that. So I'll see you next week. Bye.